Hello and welcome, and today we'll be talking about Grep. Grep is one of the built-in tools that almost any Linux distribution is a very critical tool to be able to understand and learn how to use that can really make your life easier when working in the command line of Linux. So I'm just going to dig right on in here to some examples of how to use it, and hopefully this will be able to help you with any tasks that you're working on. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go over into the var log directory. I like to work in there. It has some default files and my images that I can play around with. And so here, a lot of times when you're doing troubleshooting, you'll probably end up doing a lot of troubleshooting on the syslog to help try to pull out different logs that for the system to try to decipher what's going on with it, if there's any problems, different things like that. So grep is a good tool to use on syslog to weed out particular pieces of information that you're trying to get. And so what we can do here is if I just take a look in the syslog here, what I can do is I can see here that there's, let's say, cron. Cron is a scheduling tool within Linux to schedule different tasks, and it runs regularly, and so it's going to have a lot of content in here, and we will also look at systemd as well. So we'll focus on systemd and cron when we're doing our greps. So the first example I'll give you is I'll do a grep for cron on syslog, and I'm going to get a lot of results, so I'm just going to return the bottom set of results by using the tail, piping the results into tail. And once again, I have to use sudo. And so here we can see that grep, out of the syslog, grep has returned all the lines that contain an uppercase cron. And so this is the first method of being able to query specific data out of these files. Now, if we wanted to expand this a little bit further, and we weren't sure which file that we were looking for, but we knew kind of what text we were looking for, but it was in one of the files, but we weren't sure which one. So as an example, I've come across this a bunch of time in the etc directory. There will be configuration files, and I'll be looking for something that may contain my database name or something like that. And so let me grab a file here, hosts, and we'll see that we have the base 1, base 2, and level 7 cloud stuff in here. So what I can do is if I want to search, let's say I knew I wanted to find something that had base in it, but I wasn't sure which file. I could use grep and search for base, and search. If I'm already in the etc directory, I can just use star. But if I'm not in this directory, I can do /etc/star. And that will search all the files in this directory for this word. And let me do a sudo here. And so it returns back all these different ones. So database contains base in it. We see a lot of different results. And when it's hitting directories, it'll just error out that it is a directory. So that ties us into, so what we can now, so that brings up that, yes, it's a directory, but is it searching inside of that? It is not. It is only searching in the files in that directory. Now, if we want to do a recursive search for all the files and files within subdirectories, we can add a -r, and that will go through and search all of the subdirectories as well, and it won't error out if it hits a directory, because then it will just go into that directory and search the files. So here we can see all of the results, and it gives you the file and the particular line within that file that had that content. And so here we can see all the base that were in all these files. So that's another example there. Another thing that we can do is if I wanted to find a particular line and I knew the text that I was looking for, but I wasn't sure, I just wanted to get the results of a file. So instead of doing, so it's kind of like the first one we did, except for instead of, so let me go back over to var log here and I'll show you what I mean. So instead of doing grep for cron on syslog, we could also do something very similar to that. So instead of specifying syslog, I will cat out syslog and then pipe it into grep. And if I'm doing it that way, I don't need to specify the file name on grep, because what it will do is it will use the stdin, or the input. So what this will do is it's going to cat out the syslog, which catting will just dump all the file contents to the screen, and then it pipes in the results of that into grep, and then grep will filter those results based upon the parameters that we set. So if I'm then going to pipe that into tail so we're not filling up the screen, and so if I do sudo there, and so we get the same exact results, it's just another way of using it. So if you wanted to cat out the contents of something and then just filter the contents based using grep, that's another way of doing it there as well. Now let's say at the beginning we were saying we're going to look at cron, and then we're also going to look at systemd. So what if I wanted to filter based upon multiple items? So what I can do here is, instead of just doing grep cron, I can enclose these in single quotes, do a backslash pipe, and then, or it's just the up and down line, but in this regard we're not piping, we're just separating the search criteria, and then we'll do systemd. So that's going to grab all the contents of syslog that contain the cron and system, or, sorry, not and, or. So it's going to get either or. And so now we'll see here the results are slightly different, where we're now getting cron and systemd lines within the results here. And so now what if I wanted to get all of the cron results? And so now if I look at this again, now let's say, yes, I'm getting the cron results as I expected, but I don't want the info. I want to weed out the info. So what I can do is I can further filter this out by piping the results back into grep and then using a -v. And what that will do is it will exclude you can further filter out. So it will pipe out all the results of syslog into this grep. It will filter out so you only get cron, so it will get this. And then it will then filter further and exclude anything that has info. And so if I run this again, and I'll just do a tail. So now you can see we filtered this down so it does not include these lines any longer. It only has these lines here. And so I can even go even a step further and say, okay, I only want the one that has the 9773. And so I can do a grep-v, or I don't want this 9773, or if I do want the 9773, I can just do it this way. And so now I only get the one with 9773, or I can do the opposite and get all the ones except 9773. So that's another way of filtering that out. Now there's another nice feature depending on some of the content that you're searching. So you can use a -B for before or a -A for after, or you can use both. And what that will do is it will return the results that you're looking for, and it will include the lines before and after the contents that you provide. So if I wanted to get every line of cron, but I also wanted to get the line before and the line after each line that had cron in it, it will look like this. And so now it's getting each of these cron lines. So here's cron. And for this one, there wasn't anything before, but there was one after. For this cron, this is the before and this is the after line. And it does not filter the before and after line. So it just says, okay, you wanted the line before it and the line after it. We're not filtering based upon those lines, just the initial line. So you could see each cron here and the line that it got before and after. So that's another nice little feature to be able to, so like let's say you're searching a particular error and you wanted to find the kind of what happened before that error, you could grep for the error code or the error line message, and then you could just do a -B and do like the top 10 lines before it and kind of see what happened before that error. And another thing you can do is you can do insensitive case insensitive search. And so all the searches that we've been doing are case sensitive. And so here, I've been looking for uppercase cron. I can also do a lowercase cron, and you'll notice that it has cron here, and then it has cron lowercase. Now if I did a -I, that would do a case insensitive. And so it would get me either or. Let me see if there's I'll do system D instead. So if I do system D, I get a bunch of results. But if I took this out and I made this, let's make this up, okay, system D. There's no results. But if I did a -I, it ignores case. And so I get all the results again. And you notice I even have a lowercase d in there. So it doesn't really matter the case on your search criteria or the results. If you use the -I, it focuses on the letters itself, whether the case is uppercase or lowercase. The next thing we're going to look at is an exact search. And this is nice if you're trying to find a specific word and you don't want it to be, you don't want to return the results that have the word in it. You want to only return if it is a word itself. So as an example, if I wanted to search for down, I'm going to get all these download results here. But if I add a -W, it will get an exact match. And there are no exact matches in the particular syslog. So same thing here, if I did a system D, this is not going to return anything because I do get it does come up with an exact search. So it does not care about this. It doesn't see that as a part of the word, the brackets. So it's primarily on the internal of the word. So if I wanted to, so if I did down with the case sensitivity, it won't include it. And then if I take the the exact search out, it finds download. Trying to see if there's something else I can do? Okay, so this is another one, time and timer. So if I do a, let me see what kind of results I get for time. Okay, so we get all these that have time, 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 time. And then if I put timer, same thing because it has a timer over here. So it sees the word, but let's say like up. Okay, so up is a really good one here where we're seeing up, up, and up. But if you notice, there's upgrade, I think I saw uptime somewhere as well. No, I just must have been seeing things. But yeah, so upgrade is not returning a result because up is part of this word, and we're doing an exact search. And then if I take out the exact search, so we'll get a whole lot more content based upon the up not having the exact match. So definitely keep that in mind when you're doing your searches, and I hope you found this beneficial, and please subscribe and have a great day.